Hey everybody, I am weirdly keeping the baking going this weekend, and I am going to make a cinnamon roll with a brioche dough. I tried this recipe last week and it was like Peter's favorite ever, so he has requested it again and I'm just so happily obliging. This is a complicated 2-day recipe in which you first make the dough, let it sit in the fridge overnight, and then make the rolls and bake it the next day. The recipe is even in 2 parts. I am using a recipe called Classic Brioche Dough to start. It's from foodall.com, so that's FOODAL.com. Brioche dough is an enriched dough, and from what I understand, the difference between a regular dough and an enriched dough is that regular dough is typically only 4 ingredients: flour, water, yeast, and salt. In an enriched dough, you can add all sorts of things like sugar, eggs, and milk. All right, you start by combining warm milk, which is supposed to be 100 degrees. Got my thermometer out. Flour, sugar, and yeast. The warm milk activates this yeast. Now this mixture gets set aside for half an hour, and you combine the rest of the dry ingredients while you're waiting for it to activate and bubble up. Okay, I just combined some flour, salt, and sugar in step 2, and I'm gonna pour this over the first mixture when it's done in about half an hour. Awesome, so you can see the difference in this mixture now that it's risen. You can see all the bubbles. Now I'm gonna add the flour mixture and eggs. Eggs have been added, the flour mixture has been added. Now we're gonna take it over and pop it into the stand mixer. The stand mixer is fitted with the dough hook, and this is gonna go for a long time until everything's mixed together and the gluten builds up so that it holds together well. Okay, so it hasn't been the full 15 minutes yet, and you want the dough to do something called a window pane test. So when you stretch it, you can see through it. And it's not there yet. See, it's kind of breaking apart. So it's got to mix longer. Okay, the dough is in a plastic container with a lid on it. It's supposed to rise for 30 minutes, but I'm not gonna lie to you, it doesn't look good. Okay, so here's what happened. While it was in the kneading phase, it was not getting to the point where the gluten is developed, or it's kind of stretchy, like you can stretch it where it doesn't break. So I was kneading it and kneading it and kneading it and kneading it, and it just wasn't getting there. So I stopped for 5 to 10 minutes, came back to it after I was trying to figure out how to troubleshoot, and it had started to rise, and I hadn't put the butter in yet. So I put the butter in, but now it's like this weird light dough. It's nothing like it was when I first made it. And the only difference is that I used regular all-purpose flour this time, and last time I used bread flour. I don't know. This is why people don't like baking. I'm frustrating. Now I gotta go buy more eggs. So this does not look good at all. It's not rising any more than it had already, and because I didn't incorporate the butter early enough, who knows, it's kind of leaking out. I'm gonna put it in the fridge anyway, but I'm probably gonna have to make another one tomorrow. Warning. I'm putting off checking my dough so much that I already changed all my clocks on my appliances, and I'm drinking tea with 2 tea bags. Shout out to my mom, who showed me the way of drinking tea with 2 tea bags because Geminis can't make decisions. And she's a Gemini too. All right, I'm going again at bread flour this time, and I'm gonna use a different mixer bowl just because. Gonna heat the milk, then add yeast, flour, and sugar. I'm finally ready to bake the cinnamon buns. I am just prepping, so I have the filling and the pan all ready. I actually always forget to do this part before I take the dough out, so I'm excited. I remembered. Get the pan ready, butter it so it doesn't stick, and here's the filling. It's brown sugar, butter, sugar, and cinnamon. The recipe also calls for nutmeg, but I don't put nutmeg in anything because it's a garbage spice. Don't at me. You want to cream this together really long until it's nice and whippy because you're going to have to spread this really thin on the dough, and the more whipped it is, the easier. Here's the dough. It rose just insanely. Like what? Okay, check out what this looks like. And I'm gonna do a quick video of what the first dough that I considered a failure looked like. So I am going to flour the surface, pull this baby out, and roll it into a rectangle. Here's the dough all rolled, flattened into a rectangle. Then I took the filling and kind of evenly spaced it. It's very tough to get an even spacing with the filling, but that's okay because when it cooks, it all kind of gets gooey and evens out on its own. And now I'm gonna roll this up this way. All right, it's in a roll. This is how you get the cinnamon bun swirl because I rolled it up this way, and now I'm gonna cut it the opposite way so you get the swirls. I just have to score it evenly and then cut it and place it in the pan, and I knew. And here they are. I have to let these rise until the instructions say that the dough springs back when pressed. See, it's not doing that yet. I don't know how long that is, but I'm gonna check them in. It's been a little over an hour, and in the back-to-back, I think you'll see that they've risen a bit, gotten a little bigger, and the dough is springing back. So I'm gonna pop them in the oven. It says half an hour, but I'm gonna check them in 20 minutes. Oh my goodness, these are rising too much. You see the one in the back? I think there might be just a smidge too much yeast in them. I think these are done. It's been a little over 25 minutes. I'm just gonna check the center ones because they're a little bit lighter. Grab my toothpick. Awesome, it's coming out clean. Yeah, I think they're done.